This weekend, I found myself back home for a post-op appointment, getting the all clear from my doctor after having a golf ball-sized cyst cut out of my sinus a few weeks ago. Since I was home for the weekend, my dad asked me if I wanted to tag along to an open house at a local company that makes cast iron cookware. He said there'd be free ice cream, so yeah, obviously I said yeah. So off we went, driving into the middle of nowhere to go see how they make pots and pans. We didn't have any problems on the way out, but on the way home we did lose all cell service and had to navigate off-grid without Google Maps to give you an idea of where we were. Once we got there, we were directed around the back to the event parking, which was next to, or maybe just in, a cemetery. Once we made our way inside, we got to look at all these pots and pans in a very HGTV-style showroom. One of the displays showed off all the steps of the manufacturing process that my dad and I were really excited to see later. The next factory tour was in about 15 or 20 minutes, so in the meantime we walked back outside to get the free ice cream I was promised. As we ate our ice cream, we walked back to the parking lot, by which I mean we ate ice cream in the cemetery, which wasn't ideal. This is after the fact, Ryan, here to clarify that the ice cream was very good, awesome, not normally a huge plain vanilla fan, but this stuff was good, and it just was weird to be enjoying it in that particular setting. So, okay, had to add that. Once it was time for the factory tour, they walked us to the shop where they processed the pans. We got to see the lathe in the mill they used to grind out the inside of the pots and pans, and that big blue thing in the background is the giant tumbler they used to polish and smooth out the pots, which they didn't turn on for the tour. That was all neat to see, but my dad and I both agreed we'd been duped. We thought we were going to see the whole casting process, but apparently all of their casting happens off-site at a number of local foundries. Don't get me wrong, it was a cool event. I did have fun, and I'm not trying to disparage a local company or anything like that, but it did leave me curious as to what the rest of the process actually looks like. So we went home, and I started Googling. Okay, after the fact, Ryan here again, and I have to tell you that I spent the rest of that day watching YouTube videos of foundries pouring iron and doing homework, which is not particularly interesting to watch. So in lieu of that, we're going to conclude the video with everybody's favorite segment, Ryan Explains Cast Iron. Making cast iron starts with the iron, which isn't actually just iron. I'm not exactly qualified to explain metallurgy, but basically they just mix together raw pig iron, steel, and recycled scraps from other casts to make an alloy of iron with a few % of carbon and silicon in it. All that metal gets melted down at several thousand degrees and then poured into a mold. The molds I think are really interesting because they're made out of sand. The sand gets pressed into a mold and can retain its shape, and then the molten metal gets poured in, and this all works because the sand has a higher melting point than the iron, which I think is crazy. After all of that is where our factory tour started. The sand molds leave a rough surface texture, so the insides of the cookware get machined to a smoother finish, and then tumbled in a giant pile of ceramic or steel media that grind the surfaces down. After that, the pans get seasoned, which also wasn't on our tour, but they did tell us that it's just cooking a layer of grapeseed oil into the cast iron in a regular kitchen oven, which gives the pan a protective and non-stick coating. And that is how cast iron works, I think.